Welcome, Afia Fitriati. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to speak to us at Salaam Gateway. My name is Emi Abdulalim, as you know, Afia, and I'm editor for Salaam Gateway. And you're speaking to us today from Jakarta. Is that right?
Yes, thank you for having me, Emi. It's a pleasure to talk to you after such a long time.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Even
Yes,
if it's on screen.
yeah, it would be great if you come to Jakarta again one day, inshallah.
Inshallah, I think that would be nice. But seeing as how this is going, let's not plan anytime so soon.
Well, we hope for the best, right?
Inshallah, inshallah. We need to understand, Afia, why we're speaking to you today. I mean, I know why I'm speaking to you today, but give us a background of what it is you do. You're a co-founder of a startup called Gadjian. That's Gadjian.
Yes.
And we're speaking to you because you work with a lot of SMEs who use your products. And we want to understand the impact that this pandemic has on them. So to start off with, tell us a bit about Gadjian.
Right. So our startup is an HR tech startup. We help companies mainly in Indonesia and mainly SMEs to automate their payroll processes and their HR operations processes such as leave management, monitoring employees' attendance, and so on and so forth. So the effect of this pandemic on SMEs has definitely been brutal. I've spoken to a few of our clients who they had to lay off some of their employees. Some had to cut the salaries of their employees, and this thing happens overnight. The previous week, because I monitored our CRM and I monitor our customers, talk to us. They talk to us every day, and it happens overnight. The previous week they were just sharing about their business, and the next week they need to cut jobs. So it's been brutal.
Before we go on, tell us what kind of SMEs use Gadjian, and can you give us an indication of how many of these SMEs use your product?
Right. So currently we're managing about 2,000 to 5,000 businesses across Indonesia, from Sumatra to the eastern part of Indonesia. The type of SMEs that we manage it's actually quite a big range. So we manage companies from 6 to 1,000 plus employees. So it's a big range. The average size of our clients are about 50 employees in size. So it's not the typical micro SMEs that comprise of most businesses or most informal sector in Indonesia. They tend to be more stable. And the reason why they adopt our system is because they want to grow their business. So they want to automate certain processes, including payroll. They tend to be more stable in general. And that is why it's quite sad to see some of them have to, stop their business. But on the bright side, we also see this is not of our clients are affected drastically. So certain sectors such as travel or the hotel industry are definitely impacted the hardest. But the consumer goods type, we see them still. They're still asking the business as usual questions on our service portal.
Okay, so we see a cross-section of the sectors with hotel, hospitality, and travel being affected the most,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
what's happening? About a week ago, the Indonesian government announced a stimulus package, There was about 405.1 trillion rupiah, which is about $25 billion. And then, there are little bits and pieces of financial support that have been announced to come through, especially down to the MSMEs that make up the bulk of businesses in Indonesia. When SMEs that who use Gadjian hear this, are they saying that this will help them tide through, especially for 3 months? Because in terms of cash flow, SMEs need to get past, at least 3 months in order to survive this pandemic. What are they telling you?
Well, the tax stimulus, so far, people are quite excited about it. But my reservation is that the government needs to think about how this will be distributed among the SMEs. Definitely, our clients and the SMEs in general would need as much help as they can. As you know yourself, this is affecting the global economy big time. There's 30% downturn in our global economy, and especially the SMEs that are supposed to be Indonesia's growth engine are mostly impacted. So definitely any stimulus, any help will be mostly accepted by the SMEs. But my worries is that the help will not be evenly distributed. And I think that's the homework the big homework that the government needs to do.
In terms of distribution, in a lot of countries, and Singapore, where I am included, and Saudi Arabia as well, announced this, the government is taking on the job of paying for a percentage of salaries for people in the private sector. Is that something that's part of the stimulus package for Indonesia?
We haven't heard of such stimulus. I think such a kind of stimulus will be, greatly accepted. I think that's the main thing that the SMEs need right now, but we haven't heard of such an initiative happening.
So is this why you're seeing layoffs happening, like you say, almost overnight?
Yes, definitely, because businesses need to keep afloat, and they need to survive as much as they can. And at the same time, revenues are not coming, right? So they need to have another stream of money to cover the payroll expenses.
Do you know of any, because you work in HR tech, maybe you're also cognizant of this, are there laws in Indonesia to protect employees? For instance, can employers extend unpaid leave for a certain number of months, using that to keep jobs but not pay people on payroll?
I think that's another area where there are a lot of confusions, because even before this pandemic is happening, actually the government was passing a law to revise the existing labor law, because it's very rigid already. The current labor law was issued in 2003, just shortly after the economic crisis of 1997. So it's outdated already. It's not keeping up with the current economic climate. But so that bill is still being discussed, and then this pandemic happens. So as an overall picture, the existing labor law makes it very difficult for businesses to fire people, actually. But given that this is a force majeure, it's not business as usual. So companies are taking steps that are not written in the law, and this has been creating a lot of confusion, both from the employee side as well as from the employer side. And we have a blog as part of our business. We provide content for our clients and potential clients, and we have seen a surge for certain topics such as unpaid leave,
right,
and unpaid, and then termination, all those things that people are confused right now.
Right. So they're turning to you as well for help because you work in HR as a tech company.
Yeah. So people are asking us questions outside of our usual scope of services, simply because they don't know where to turn to, and the available information out there about this kind of situation and how to handle it, it's not available. And people, we have seen a large influx of questions from our clients on how to handle unpaid leave. How long is it fair that my employer is putting me on unpaid leave on such a short notice, and so on and so forth.
So
it's been
like,
a chaotic situation, really.
This sounds like an opportunity for your company to grow. Are you yourself keeping afloat within this period of the pandemic?
Well, I would say that, we're very empathic with the situation that, seeing every day that one client is asking us for help to reset the setting on our software so she can cut certain allowances for the employees, is heartbreaking. But at the same time, because we have several features on our software that helps companies to work from home and manage their HR operations remotely, we also see areas where our businesses have grown, unexpectedly. Today, we just closed a deal, a very big deal actually, by one of the largest companies in Indonesia, which was not originally in our, core target client. So it's been a blessing and a curse at the same time, I guess.
Congratulations. Can you tell us what company that is and in which sector?
It's an oil and gas company. I don't know if I probably it's not proper of me to say the brand, but it's a government-owned oil and gas company.
Okay, that sounds good for your business. So you're like you say, it's like this is like a double-edged sword
Exactly.
for your company.
We're definitely hoping for the best for all of our clients, given this situation, because again, Indonesia, as you know, is one of the largest countries in terms of population in the world, and when the economy is hit so hard and a lot of businesses is hit, I think it's the job loss factor is most situation.
Yeah. So now that your company has to step up to serve your clients, like you say, a lot of different contents that you have to provide for them because they're looking for answers. What can you say to SMEs in Indonesia that they can do now to be able to emerge from this lockdown or this pandemic in a better situation?
Right. Thanks for that question. I think the slight silver lining that SMEs can take out of this situation is to focus on the unit economics of their business, basically to take care of their costs and see opportunities inside this problem. For example, some of our clients are cosmetics companies. They definitely see a downturn in terms of cosmetics purchase, but they were able to shift their production line to produce hand sanitizer. Those kind of pivots are really necessary if they can do it. Other than that, I think it's important that we help each other. As you just recently touched upon, our company tries to step up by providing contents, by providing as much help as we can. We just lengthen our service hours to service our customers. Basically, what I think is just it's very important in this situation that we help each other and to step up more than our comfort zone. Because everyone is suffering, and I think it's an opportunity to show the good side of humanity, even if you're running a business and you need to stay afloat yourself.
That's a good message for Indonesia. We, in this region in Southeast Asia, we know Indonesians to be a very resilient people. And knowing that, how do you think Indonesian micro, small, and medium enterprises will come out of this pandemic?
I think, as you said, Indonesians are very resilient people, and I got concerned in the past couple of years when there were, the presidential elections, the politics have divided us, and probably this pandemic is a call for the country to unite again, because we are in this situation together, and it's important right now that that we help each other, and we believe that if we do that, if everybody is staying strong together, helping each other, we see people are giving information, giving discounts that probably also necessary for others to survive, in terms personally as well as business wise. And I think after this pandemic, I think the micro and small business in Indonesia should be stronger. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that I think with the work from home situation, and people are forced to stay at home, it makes people realize that technology adoption is important, and I guess that's why we're seeing also a surge in the adoption of our service. So I think that's something that's going to change as well after this pandemic. Hopefully, is over soon.
We can't really say that about all of Indonesia, though, because a large part of the country still remains rural. And I know that you've had an ongoing infrastructure project to boost broadband infrastructures throughout the country. So we can say that about Jakarta, which is very well connected. But the infrastructure has to be there and to support all your, thousands and thousands of islands as well. Is that moving in the right direction if you're going to sort of increase online working and automation?
Well, for the micro businesses, even before this pandemic, right, e-commerce platforms such as Tokopedia and Lazada are starting to boom. And I think with this pandemic, it will also force people to move online. So, yes, the infrastructure is still coming on, but I think given the situation that makes people think about or forcing people to adapt, I think it's going to happen.
Okay, that's a positive note. One last question. Ramadan will start in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Indonesia has this very big affair called Mudik, where you return home, especially for Lebaran, especially for Eid al-Fitr. And it begins during Ramadan. People start leaving places like Jakarta, the big cities, Jogja, Bandung, and going home for most of Ramadan and for Eid al-Fitr. Is there actually a lockdown in place for people not to move back home for Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr?
Yes. Actually, the government has just announced people are forbidden to go for Mudik this time of year. Certainly, it's something that's very sad for many people. In our company ourselves, we have, I think, about 60% of our employees are from outside of Jakarta, and they're looking forward to come home and meet their families. But this is a prohibition for all Indonesians to come home for Mudik. So yeah, definitely there's a lockdown in terms of Mudik, and yeah, we will be spending Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr differently this time of year.
Thank you, Afia Fitriati, co-founder of HR Tech software. Is it a software? Should I call it software or a product?
Yeah, it's a cloud-based software.
Okay, HR Tech cloud-based software, Gadjian. Stay safe.
Thank you for having me again.